The city didn't just take my home, it took my dignity. All I have left is a name, and this, a graveyard of rust. My father, Elias, disappeared here 2 decades ago. The police said it was an accident. The lawyers said it was a liability. But the logic of my father was always different. He didn't build shelters. He built legacy. Now, facing rock bottom, I have to step into the same darkness that swallowed him. If the old man was right, I don't just possess a ruin. I possess a chance. The lock yielded, not with a click, but a groan. Inside, the air was ancient, thick with the smell of rotted grease and dust. These machines weren't just abandoned. They looked like they were holding their breath. Hundreds of them, silent sentinels from another era. My steps echoed, but I swear there was another sound. A slow, precise thud, matching my own, coming from deep within the shadows. This wasn't a ruin. It was a cathedral of forgotten purpose. I came looking for answers, for money, for anything that didn't require me to sleep in my car. But Dad's office was just a graveyard of failed paperwork. In frustration, I slammed my fist down. And then, click, clack, click. From the dark hall below, the central lathe, unpowered for 20 years, was moving. One massive brass gear was turning, slow and purposeful. It wasn't unpowered. It was unburdened. It was trying to tell me something. My logical mind screamed to run, but I am an Adler. We are commanded to look deeper. Behind the gear, I found a secret slot, a small oil-stained leather book, The Theory of Living Gears by Elias Adler. The notes were insane, beautiful, a madness I recognized. He wrote of tuning the metal to the human heart, of a connection beyond physics. He wasn't just building parts, he was training an organism. He didn't disappear, he became part of the design. The notes were clear. Logic ends where purpose begins. I did the impossible. I stood before the silent giant and placed my palm on its rusted skin. I didn't push, I didn't pull. I simply calibrated my own breath to the slow rotation of the gear. Rhythm, not power. And then, I felt it. A faint, unpowered shudder. A pulse. It started in the iron, moved through my hand, and into the very floorboards. The whole factory didn't move. It shifted, like a beast settling in its sleep. I didn't power it up. I woke it up. The pipes didn't just carry air, they carried memories. At 3 a.m. the factory speaks. A metallic rasp, a grinding of bronze against steel. Fix it, Mark. I found the central lathe weeping, thick, black oil bleeding from its joints. My father's notes were clear. Machines don't break, they lose their rhythm. I realized then, I wasn't just a mechanic. I was a doctor for a dying god. The silence was over. The conversation had begun. I had no money for parts, so I had to scavenge from the dead. I stripped the smaller looms, sacrificing them to save the heart. My hands bled, skin torn by rusted iron. A single drop of my blood fell into the main axle. The reaction was instant. A low guttural roar shook the foundations. No electricity, no fuel, just the resonance of bone and brass. The lathe began to spin with impossible precision, carving scrap metal into a masterpiece. The factory was hungry, and I was providing the feast. The world noticed the perfection, and the vultures followed. Thorne offered me a check to walk away, to let them bulldoze my father's soul. I said no. That night, they sent shadows to break what I had fixed. I heard them, the heavy breathing of men with hammers, but the factory heard them too. In the dark, the heavy cranes swung without a sound. The floorboards groaned beneath the intruder's feet. I realized then, I wasn't the one hiding. They were the ones trapped. They brought hammers. The factory brought a storm. Steam erupted, blinding and hot, turning the floor into a white abyss. And there, through the haze, I saw him, a tall silhouette in an oil-stained apron. My father didn't speak. He pointed. I pulled the master lever. The resonance was deafening, a symphonic roar of 10,000 gears spinning in perfect unison. It wasn't a weapon. It was a declaration of existence. The shadows fled, broken by the sheer weight of the factory's will. Prosperity followed purpose. I didn't just rebuild a business. I rebuilt a community. We didn't need the power grid. We had the rhythm of the gears. We became the architects of resilience. The money came, but it was just fuel for a bigger fire. I looked at my hands, no longer just scarred, but strong. My father's diary ended with one line: "The machine is only as useful as the man who tends it." I wasn't just a survivor anymore. I was the heart of the engine. I thought I had mastered the factory, but I was only playing in the attic. Beneath the floorboards lay the true Miller legacy, a machine so vast it hummed with the vibration of the earth itself. My father wasn't just a mechanic. He was a guardian. He didn't disappear because of an accident. He disappeared because this machine required a constant witness, a human heartbeat to stay in sync with the core. The wealth I built was a byproduct. The real work was keeping the world from shaking apart. Thorn came back with drills and greed, unaware they were knocking on the door of an abyss. I didn't fight them with lawyers. I fought them with resonance. Hold the rhythm, I shouted to my men. For the first time, the factory didn't just breathe, it sang. A collective will, 1,000 hands moving as one. We created a frequency of pure stability. Thorn's machines shattered. Their drills snapped like glass. They didn't understand that he cannot break what is in perfect alignment. The world called it a miracle. I called it a long day's work. The ruins of Miller Mechanicals became the foundation of a new era. We proved that the past isn't a burden, it's a battery. I filled the remaining pages of the diary not with secrets, but with invitations. To try, to fail, and to try again until the metal obeys your heart. I was no longer the man losing his home. I was the man building a future for every home. The shadows are gone, but the strength remains. Dad is finally resting, his heartbeat replaced by the steady hum of a world saved. I leave the diary there for the next soul who finds themselves at rock bottom. Because now I know, there is no such thing as an abandoned life, only a machine waiting for someone brave enough to turn the first gear. My name is Mark Adler, and I am exactly where I am supposed to be.